Welcome, everybody, to the Jurassic Park podcast. I am your host, Brad Jost, and today we are discussing our non-spoiler thoughts on Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Season 3. And I'm not here by myself. No, I do have a special friend here. So I am here with the one and only Tom Jurassic. How you doing, Tom?
I've been upgraded to a friend.
Yes, a very special friend here today. So, before we get into our non-spoiler takes on Season 3, we just did a quick Season 2 wrap-up in episode 274, so please go take a listen to that if you don't remember some of the details. We didn't really go too deep. We just did a very general kind of recap. And also, as always, I just wanted to thank Dreamworks Animation for just giving us the chance to watch all of these seasons, actually. Just a little bit early so we could prepare some content and get some fun stuff out to you guys. It's an incredible opportunity, and we're just always super grateful to be able to do that. So thank you guys very much for that. And if you're wondering, this is a non-spoiler review, so there will be a full spoiler review pretty soon as Season 3 comes out on the 21st of May. Yeah. So I forgot what month it was right now. So stay tuned for that. But for now, let's get into those non-spoiler reactions. So, Tom, just give me your general thought process coming out of Season 3. What did you think? We'll dive a little bit deeper in a bit, but what did you think overall?
Okay, so I need to look directly into the camera for this. Jurassic fans are going to lose their...
beep.
I was very happy with this season. So I think a lot of people know that I perhaps wasn't the happiest with Season 2. And I felt like some of it was very, very overt setup. And I was a little bit worried about how that fit into the broader Jurassic universe. Season 3 put a lot of those worries to rest. There was a lot of stuff done here to really make sure that everything felt cohesive and actually that a really, really cool story unfolded with a lot of interesting details packed into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I was just like, throughout the season multiple times, I just found myself floored. I was like,
same.
Oh my God. I was like, this is everything I could have asked for. I got myself like hyperventilating. I'm like, oh my God. Wow. So I was like super pumped the whole time. I think the music actually was a good part of that, a big part, because like throughout the season, I was just picking up on all of these like, familiar tracks or just things that were used to great effect. I was like, wow, that was perfect. Absolutely perfect way to get into that. And I think along with the tracks, it kind of gives you like an emotional value to the situation. And I felt like the story had a lot of really, really good emotional beats and stuff like that. Different ranges too, not just like one or the other, but just a big range of emotions. And I felt like you could see a lot of transformation, I guess, this season between characters and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Pacing wise and action, I felt like there was just there was so much happening. At times I was like, oh my God, what? Like it was breathtaking. Like, and I was like, I gotta rewind this. So I found myself doing that multiple times, where even if it was just like a quiet moment and the characters were just talking or revealing, information or secrets, I was like, all right, here we go. I gotta go back. And I went back like 4 times on like some of the scenes, and I'm like, oh, there's so much information in there. And I loved it all. It was really, really detailed. But I found it a very epic season. Just a lot of resounding like moments and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think very good.
I would sum it up as going back to the tone of Season 1 and building on that really, really well, and having a lot less of the sort of extreme moments of Season 2, while still having its own moments that felt grounded and felt engaging, and just it was really well done is the best thing I can say. It felt a lot more tonally in line with other things that we expect from Jurassic.
Yeah, that was my next point here in my notes, was the tone, actually.
I'm psychic, clearly.
You are, yeah. No, I just have a natural way of progressing the conversation, I guess. The tone for season 1, it felt very consistent. You kind of knew what you were getting, and it was very, clearly laid out. I loved the tone of that season. Season 2 was like, we're going to throw a bunch of different things at you, whether it's something very playful, something very dark, or just strange at times. You didn't know what to expect in that season. It kind of left you off balanced a little bit at times. But I felt like this season, it was a very adventurous season, like so much, dire stakes at times, and things felt very important. So I felt like, and you said building off of season 1, it did feel like a natural progression. I do think maybe once we get into more spoiler details in another video or podcast, I think we'll maybe talk about a lot of those ties into season 2, and how things that maybe felt interesting or different at times in season 2 may have paid off in season 3. So, but I thought the tone was really, really good in this. Definitely expanded upon season 1 and took it to just like everywhere you'd want to go. I
think something we said as well is look at season 2 and season 3 as a package. So if you were like me and you were a little bit thrown off by season 2, maybe rewatch that and then directly go into season 3, because I could see it tonally balancing quite well.
I did not do that.
I didn't either. I'm just suggesting it.
No, I know. I'm actually thinking that's a very good idea. And I mean, I think this whole thing works really cohesively as a trilogy, I guess you could say, currently, at least. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like it works very, very well together. And I think what maybe stood out as awkward or nothing of value maybe in season 2. I don't want to like put season 2 down too much, because I did enjoy it, but like at times you did feel that way. You're like, how does this connect? It does. It feels like it does a lot. So but story wise, we're not going to go too much into story and stuff like that, but I felt that this season was full of exploration. So the story brought you to multiple different places that you've never been before. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, because I did feel like season 2 was a little stale with some of those locations. Because season 2 was like, well, here's a jungle. Also, here's the jungle. Here's a different part of the jungle.
Yeah.
And then there's a tunnel, and then more tunnels, and a lab, I guess, or the same lab that we've been to, I think. So there was a lot of very similar areas. Some new stuff, but mostly a lot of like familiar settings that we've seen before, or just generic settings. But season 3 really, I think, excels with where the story goes. And I think a lot of the questions that we had leading into the season just, felt resolved to me. So
definitely. Yeah, I think the story here, the best thing I can say is it feels like it moves forward, and it keeps moving forward. And you kind of you have a couple of points where the story deviates slightly from the end goal, but it feels like a natural deviation. So you can kind of see why characters are motivated to do certain things, or why certain things are unfolding. And it just felt like sort of a much more cohesive return to, I suppose, the overarching plot of how do we survive on this island when there's nobody else left here. It felt like this was a lot more authentic to, I suppose, how like you and I would react to that kind of situation if you found yourself in that situation, rather than season 2, which was a bit like, oh, we're on this island, let's go and blow up a random warehouse.
Which character are you, by the way? Who do you see yourself as? Are you a Kenji? Are you a Brooklyn? Are you a Darius? Are you a Bumpy? I don't know. Who are you?
Brad, you've seen the ridiculous times I am on social media, so I think I have to be Brooklyn.
Okay, all right, that works. But you talked about characters, and that was the next thing on my list here.
Mate, we're doing so well here, considering I've not seen this list.
And I alluded to it before, but I felt like there was a lot of growth, I think, in these characters. I think season 1, it was hard. It was a very short period of time, so there wasn't a lot of growth, I guess, to be had per se, because like if it's just a few days, like what are you really seeing? You know, you're seeing some changes in relationships and stuff like that. But season 2 was I know I've heard a lot of people say that like the characters felt like they were doing different things than they've done before and stuff. But I felt like the focus was a little bit different in season 2, and the characters did some different things, but definitely backtracked a little bit. But season 3 felt like they took everything from the past and really grew upon that, and were definitely much stronger iterations of those characters throughout the season, and you felt like they were just getting better and better the whole time. And I was really happy to see that, like that there wasn't like some like, you know, like going backwards with a lot of these characters. I felt like they definitely naturally progressed. And yes, there was a few little moments of back and forth, like, you know, the characters wavering with their, you know, their ideas or whatever. But I just felt like this season built upon their growth and, you know, added some really interesting dynamics between the characters.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think it's interesting that there was a little bit more consideration to some of the characters' background stories as well, because they lead to some really, really interesting storytelling elements. And I also think it's very interesting, just more broadly, seeing them put into different situations. Like there's a couple of sequences in this which are a lot higher stress than anything they've been in beforehand. So it's really interesting seeing the back and forth between all the characters in those situations and how they kind of adapt to them. I just thought it felt like this season gave the actors behind these characters a lot more scope to really explore them and sort of double down on their performances and understand who each character was, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, I did think that a bit, that like, you know, the actors behind these characters really, it felt like they had a lot to work with this time. You know, it wasn't just like, you know, because season 1, there's a lot of like goofiness to the characters, a lot of setup and stuff like that. So they don't get to explore their full range of emotions. Season 2, there was like, I know we mentioned it at some point, but it was very playful at times, but like also dark. So there wasn't a ton to play with, but this season they just used everything they had, and it was pretty awesome. But I want to move into, which this is going to be like a fairly pointless topic, but world building. Okay, so I know it's going to be very difficult.
Come back from the spoiler episode.
Yeah, come back for that, because I think there's a lot of so this is my notes. I wrote world building, and then I wrote wow and yes. Just like it literally just those two words, like, because I was just like, oh my God, like these things are happening, and I was just floored by all of that. I know I've said it multiple times that I was floored and stuff, but the expansion upon like different elements and you were saying backstories and just we talked about the exploration of the island and stuff like that. There is so much here that feels right. And I know with our discussions for season 2, you were a little worried about some elements paying off correctly and stuff like that. But I think everything built the world correctly and didn't break it, you know, because I know a lot of people are worried about this show. You know, I forget if we said it in a season 2 wrap up or this one, but like talk about how like people start to say, I don't really consider it canon, but like I think this season had so many great canonical elements and really tied things together well, and I was just blown away by the world building in this season.
I think you've summed it up perfectly. I think a lot of the concerns that core fans will have had have been addressed. And you're going to hate me because I know you didn't really want to do this, but I've got to say,
don't say it. Don't say anything. Don't say it.
It's just little tease.
No.
I think this will recontextualize a lot of people's broader understanding of the universe when you really think about some stuff here. And there's something interesting that I'm looking forward to talking about.
Oh my dude, I mean,
Cut.
The amount of things that I'm interested in talking about is insane. Like I just, there are so many details here that I'm like, we really need to dive into all these things. And I cannot wait for everybody to see these things. That was like initially when I watched this season, throughout all these different impactful moments, I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk about this. I can't wait to discuss this with fans and with listeners and whoever. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to discuss this with all the Jurassic fans out there, because this is going to be pretty awesome and pretty.
I'm really excited to see how people react to some bits of it. I think there's going to be some really, really fun reactions.
Like literally the opposite reaction we had to season 2, where we're like, I'm interested to see how people are going to take this season.
Yeah,
I'm saying those same words, but in a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how people are going to take this season. It's going to be so fun. All right, so let's move into the dinosaurs for a little bit. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about this. I felt like the use of dinosaurs really excelled in this season. They were very varied. I think there was interesting situations for all these different species, stuff like that. Some fun new dinosaurs, interesting takes on the ones that we already know. And I just felt like it was a very good season for the dinosaurs overall. And I try not to forget them when we discuss the the show overall, because sometimes when you're talking about the story and the characters and all the world building elements and stuff like that, you can maybe forget about the dinosaurs.
Who watches Jurassic World for the dinosaurs? It's not even about them, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, look at the past. I mean, what was there, 15 or something minutes in Jurassic Park? So, I think sometimes you can forget about them when it comes to the story elements, though. But like in this show, there is so much good dinosaur stuff, and I loved it. I thought it was really, really fun.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was we get some stuff that we don't always get in the films. So there's some interesting stuff done with some of the animals that feels tonally very different. There's some stuff that feels inspired by the novels, which I thought was pretty cool. And there's also a lot of sequences which don't just make use of the animals, but they combine them with ambience and environment, which I thought was really, really clever to kind of like make things feel a little bit more horror-esque at times. You know what I'm thinking of. So that there's lots done that, again, I think season 3 really is a springboard for some interesting stuff that can be done in Dominion. When I look at this, I think, okay, I really like what they've done there. And my brain's instantly thinking about the parallels in the film universe. Where could they put things in? So I think it's really cool sort of looking at the way they've explored some sequences and, like I say, some ambience and how that can be applied to the broader universe. And one thing I will say that goes hand in hand with the dinosaurs, the cinematography this season was a step up. Like there were some really incredible shots throughout. And again, a lot of awareness of how to use all the different elements that the cinematographers have access to really make these animals feel scary at times.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I definitely agree. I think overall, just the directing and the cinematography, everything felt like really rich and full. And I thought like a lot of times throughout the season, like I was like, oh, that was a really cool directed moment where like you're looking like the camera is pointed a certain direction. You're like, wow, that's really interesting way to frame that. And I was like, yeah, I just thought it was really well done. I think overall this show has been very well put together, like from start to finish. So this kind of just added on to that. And with the situations that these characters are in this season, which just like the levels are straight through the roof. It's like there's so many potential possibilities for them to direct and have some really interesting atmospheres and stuff like that for all these characters and dinosaurs. So yeah, I was floored by all the behind the scenes efforts as well. Yeah. But and you discussed how does this play into the future with Dominion and stuff like that a little bit there. And there was an element that I think kind of ties into things here that I was really interested in seeing. This is super vague and whatever, but like there was something in here that I was like, wow, I'm really interested to see how or if that is ever played into with the dinosaurs that are, wherever they are in Dominion. So anyway,
you're here for these great descriptions, guys. We break down these scenes with all of the detail you need to envision them.
That's what's hard about the non-spoiler discussion, but I think we've done a decent job so far. I remember when season 2 came out, which the conversation never aired, but like I remember our non-spoiler discussion was like, what can we say? There was really like not much to say. But
so basically, to sum up our segment on dinosaurs, there are dinosaurs in season 3 of Camp Cretaceous.
Spoilers. Yeah. So this is another one that is going to be fairly impossible to discuss, but okay, I know a lot of people are wondering. E750. So be vague. Don't give away anything. Don't talk about it, really. Just don't say any words about it, but talk about E750 for a second.
It's handled well. It has some interesting twists that I don't think people will be expecting. And it's also got some interesting ramifications for the future.
Sure. Yeah, I think canonically speaking, it's a very, very interesting. It's a different take on what we kind of already know, and I'm really, really interested in that discussion. I'm so thrilled to talk about like the way that this is, all tied together and stuff like that. I think that's really fun.
I will add something else actually. Bear with me because I've got to think how to say it.
I know that's the problem with these elements is like, how do you say things?
I think this will be okay to include, but you can cut it if you want, Brad.
Okay.
But it will reframe the way you look at Jurassic World.
Oh yeah, completely, 100%, 100%. I guess that's okay to leave in. I don't know.
If you're hearing this, well done.
It should be fine. But yeah, I think design wise, I was very worried about what, and we had so many conversations about what this thing would be, and I know a lot of people talked about certain things that may or may not have been floating around the internet at times, and I just got to say I was very, very pleased overall with the design, the creature, everything about this thing. I was just like, whoa, this is really cool. I actually really like this thing, and I was thrilled about E750. That was like obviously since season 1 and wondering about, because I think they mentioned it in season 1, right? It was like on the computer and Brooklyn covered it. We didn't have any details really between that and season 2, but like seeing it, I was like, all my fears were kind of dispelled, and I was like, all right, I can breathe. Everything's good. Everything's fine here. So, I do think that like overall, it's probably going to be, something that is for you or not for you, overall. It really just depends on how you view the series as a whole, like Jurassic as a whole, Jurassic World saga as a whole. So I think it's definitely something that's open to interpretation for yourself. But for me, I love the way it was presented. So yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, summed it up well, Brad.
So, any final thoughts here as we head to the end? I don't know what else can we say about this. Are there any other elements that we can freely discuss at this point? I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I think a lot of people I know turned off after the second season, and a lot of people in kind of our core circles didn't enjoy the second season to the point where I know a few of them didn't even want to review it. But actually, I feel like this really is a good point to step on. So please, if you had doubts about that second season, do come back, do give this another shot. Because actually, I think that season 3 does a lot to really, really expand the Jurassic lore in interesting ways. And also, I think there's a lot of moments in this which kind of underpin how big a fan or how big fans the people working on this are. I mean, there's a couple of moments, and I'm really excited to talk about them in the spoiler episode, which I literally pulled directly from the novel and other source material as well. So to be able to make those kinds of references that I think we're delighted about as fans just shows how much time and energy and effort has gone into researching this and making something that fans will appreciate. So please, please, please do give it another shot, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And sure, it's not perfect. There's a couple of things that still don't make sense, but it does a lot to address a lot of the problems that I know at least I had personally with season 2. And actually, I left this season with a big smile on my face, so I think you will too.
I agree. I think it is just super bold, and like every direction they take and every story they attempt to tell here is incredibly bold. Like I said, I was blown away, and that's not me like overemphasizing my reactions, but I thought it was extremely bold, all the things that they decided to do here. And it's going to be interesting. So I'm really excited by it. And actually, I did want to discuss if there was any issues you had that you could maybe expand upon. I know you just kind of mentioned, there are flaws or whatever. So what can you say about that, generically speaking?
Things perhaps don't align perfectly with readily available information in the franchise, but then you have to consider the broader context of that information. It's very, very cryptic. It will make more sense when we get into our spoiler discussion.
I think it's pretty from my point of view, having seen the show, I pretty much get what you're laying out there. I think, I
had to resist saying a quote then.
Yeah, I don't even know what quote you're talking about now, but you kind of summed it up earlier about recontextualizing things, and I think that's a good way to look at it, is to say like, well, what matters to my viewing experience in a way, and I think it'll be a fun conversation, man. I am so excited, so just. I can't wait. And I think, as we wrap up here, I don't really have much else to say. Are you good on that front?
Yeah, I think I'm good. You know me, Brad. I always have more things to say, but it's fine. That's what Twitter's for.
I do want to get into spoiler discussion, which we will not do here, but we're going to do that. So check it out when that comes out.
We might be wearing the same clothes though. Who knows?
We might be. Hair might be the same. Background, all that might be the same. Yeah. I'm really interested to hear what people say. So I think, we're going to be uploading that at the same time as the show releasing and stuff. So I do want to hear your thoughts though. So please, once you or watch season 3, let us know what you think. So please reach out to us. You can send us emails to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. You could call our voicemail line, leave us a message. The number is 732-825-7763. You can also just pick up your phone, record a little voice message with your memo app or whatever, and just send that over, email that over. Again, JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. You can go to our website. I know there's a lot of options, but you can go to our website. We do have a contact form. You can write it in there as well. But please let us know your thoughts. And I think at some point I will, combine everything into a big reactions episode. So I do want to hear what everybody thinks about season 3. So I am ready. I am ready to hear everybody's perspective. So
me too. I'm excited. I think there's going to be a lot of fun discussions in the community off the back of this season.
Yeah. So again, please go check out the podcast, Jurassic Park Podcast, over on all your podcasting platforms. Go to JurassicParkPodcast.com. You can find all of our information there, all of our links. Subscribe on YouTube, follow us, subscribe all over the place. Twitter @Jurassic Park Pod, @Jurassic Park Podcast on Instagram. Facebook. I don't know. Go look for
This
it.
is the best plug speech I've ever heard.
I'm not a big I always try to end the plugs, but I'm like, I don't really like you guys can find it, it's fine. I am at Brad Jost on Twitter. Tom, where can everybody find you?
Come say hello at Tom_Jurassic.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody, and be sure to check out our spoiler review when the time comes. So we'll see you soon. Thanks everybody.